What is happening? Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast, Nintendo News Daily. I'm your host, N64 Josh. What's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing? You guys getting all of your Resident Evil and Pokemon? Get the fix this weekend of all the Resident Evil and Pokemon stuff that's out there. So much Resident Evil goodness, which is fantastic. And get some Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green. Anybody jump in? Let me know in the chat. Also, got like the Pokemon Lego stuff coming out and uh Legend of Zelda Lego stuff is available. Like there's so much. So much. Not uh there was also a direct announcement, but I don't know if it's the direct that everybody was hoping for. You know what I mean? So um Joey says half of my Twitter is Resident Evil and the other half is Pokemon. There you go. That's that sounds about right. It's gonna be a lot of Pokemon in just 2 more days. We got a review roundup of, uh of Pokemon Pokopia. Seems to be seems to be a winner right now based on what's going on with, Metacritic. So, pretty pretty cool stuff there. Let's see, I'm opening up Metacritic right now. I wanna make sure I have it up. Okay, perfect. Okay, that is up, and I got a bunch of news we're gonna talk about. How's everybody doing? So, Joey's here. Jason, what's going on? Um, Nady Nay said, "Should these farming games get scored?" I mean, well, and I think the other question is like, with a game like this that's getting scored this high, like, is it a potential game of the year contender? That seems crazy, right? But is that possible? I'm very curious about that. Like, it's it's the one of the, if not the highest rated Pokemon game ever, and uh the highest rated game of the year. Now we're only 3 months in, so that's not saying a lot, but still pretty crazy. All right. Well, we're going to jump into the news. If you guys are just lurking, welcome on in. Good to see you. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see. First up, like we mentioned at the beginning of the show here. Oh, there it is. Okay, perfect. We got an Indie World Showcase tomorrow. So another Nintendo Direct. Just not the one that everybody is hoping for, right? This thing's not long. 15 minutes. It's going to be at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. I'll be live. We'll react to it live and record right after talking about it, what we thought. I I I am of the mind right now that all of my expectations are pretty low. They're pretty low when it comes to things right now. Like, and I don't mean that in any kind of a negative way. It's just that like I don't feel like there's been a really big indie world in quite some time. And um and there were some that were just, it just seemed like there were so many rad games coming out of nowhere. You know, we were talking about it on stream a little bit ago. You had like The Messenger and Shredder's Revenge, Celeste. What there's I mean, and there's just there were so many indies on the Switch. What was the Hades, Vampire Survivors, right? And so I'm hoping that tomorrow we see something from the team of Vampire Survivors. I know they're working on something. So it's just a matter of when when are they going to showcase that, and is tomorrow the day? I'm hoping to see more from them. And I don't think the game that they're working on is coming out anytime soon that I'm aware of. I think it may still be a little ways out. So if it's too far out, then I'm fine skipping it. But if it is going to be sooner than later, I would love to get my hands on whatever they're working on because I really really liked that game a lot. So, but we do have an indie showcase, 15 minutes. Um oh, So here's from the article here from Nintendo Life. It says, clearly not the content. Um, clearly not content with its Barraza presentations recently. Nintendo has announced that it will be airing an indie showcase tomorrow on March 3rd. As revealed on Nintendo Today, the showcase will kick off at 6 a.m. Pacific. Promises 15 minutes of info on all the indie goodness coming to the Switch system in the coming months. Notably, the Japanese Indie World presentation is 10 minutes longer, coming in at 25 minutes long. So kind of interesting. Maybe they're getting a few more games over there. Now, of course, the internet immediately went crazy, right? Everybody went crazy. And I've already seen the headlines like this is the direct anybody wants and yada yada yada. We talked about it kind of extensively last week about how like Nintendo is they are really pushing third party. Really pushing third party. I feel like indies are probably going to be another thing that they're going to push. They're I that being said, I saw today and I didn't fact check this, so grain of salt, but it was from Game Rant, I think, that the Switch 2 has more exclusives than the Xbox and the PlayStation combined. That the series and the PS5 have less exclusives than the Switch 2 already has. Which is that's crazy to me. That's wild. But I mean, if we think about it, there's been a lot of games that have been canceled. Nothing on Xbox is technically an exclusive anymore. It pretty much goes everywhere. And so that like as Nintendo fans, we're kind of eating good, but is it the kind of games you want to play? And I know firsthand from chatting with a lot of you guys that like you're not getting fed what you're hoping, right? And there's a lot of people that are like, "Look, I just want 3D Mario. I just want new Zelda. I get it. New Animal Crossing, new Smash." Like, and you know, I'm I'm loving Mario Kart World, which is great for me. I know that's not going to be for everybody. And I'm like super excited for when we get anything Smash related. Love Smash Bros. Like it's one of my all-time favorites. This Pokopia, like we're gonna be talking about it more later. Think it's gonna scratch that Animal Crossing itch pretty well. And we'll look at what the reviewers are saying about it. And so like I do feel that there is a specific type of gamer that is getting left out if they are a Nintendo only fan, right? Or uh if that's the main thing they play. So, real quick, I'm gonna just turn my Switch 2 on here. Jason asked, "Any good indie game recommendations? Uh I don't play much of them. I should. Let me open get my Switch open right now. Right off the top of my head, the first one I'll say, it's 2.99 is gonna be Vampire Survivors. So good. You heard me talk about it earlier. Looking through my list here, um, Suka game, which is with the watermelon, like the different fruits where you try to make a watermelon. Incredibly fun. N It's hard to consider them indie games, but they technically are. A bunch of different Turtles games. You've got, Splintered Fate. You have, Shredder's Revenge, which is super great. I'm gonna say Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is an indie. Super like, so good. Shinobi, also another one. And there's a demo for Shinobi if you wanna check it out ahead of time. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, beat 'em up. Powerfall is fantastic. Um, I'm just kinda looking if there it depends on your style of your game, but, like, Penny's Big Breakaway, there is a demo for that one. Mina the Hollower's on its way out, or it's coming out soon, or I think it's got a little ways. It is this year, but a little ways more. Uh, N Nady Nay said Shinobi, Ninja Gaiden, Batboy, and Bomberman. Cuphead is an oldie but a goodie. The angry video game nerd stuff is actually pretty fantastic. Hades. I'm just kinda going through my list right now, you guys. Cyber Shadow is great. Um, let's see what else we got here. There's Shredder's Revenge. Um, looking at a few others. I think Berserk Boy is one that was kinda loved. Inside, if you like things that are a little more that are a little spooky, Katana Zero is great. Iron Meat is one that's fantastic if you like old school Contra stuff. Limbo, also good. Uh, Grease, which is Gris, also fantastic. Floor Kids is an interesting one for sure. We had those guys on the show, and that was a good time. Golf Story is really good. There's one that I don't see it get talked about too much, but Hypercharged, Unboxed, which is like you're playing as little army men in first person, which is pretty cool. A few others just to name real quick. You've got Bad North, Biped is good, 20XX. Um, I just want to make sure I don't miss any that are like super, super good. That like you got Hollow Knight, also Silk Song. You got Celeste, fantastic. Cadence of Hyrule, if you want a little Zelda mixed in there. There's kind of some throwback games, Blaster Master Zero and Blaster Master Zero 2. Bastion is also good. And again, I'm just kind of going through my list real quick here, but that I mean that's a pretty good start, you know. So, um, you'll definitely find something within that list that you like. So, Joey Pitt says ukulele, another good one as well. So there's a lot out there when it comes to indies, and so yeah, definitely jump in and check some of those out because they are great. So my big hope for tomorrow is that we get at least one thing. Well, I'm just going to be selfish, honestly. That I'm going to say I hope I get one thing that I'm into. Okay, a lot of times it seems like we are getting a lot of farming sims and things like that. I want something for me. I want something for me. So that's my big hope. Whether that's you know, we get more ninjas, we get we get like Neon Inferno is another one, something kind of like that. Like um they're just I and it, when I say selfishly for me, what I really mean is something that everybody is gonna get hyped for, right? Like who knows, maybe this is the indie world where Pow World gets announced. And that would be absolutely insane. Um, but where there's hype in the Discord, there's hype on X. People are like shocked that this, you know, this indie is finally here, or it's doing some things that like, yo, people are pretty excited about it. And you know, so that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And so I don't know that these are necessarily indie games, but or at least one of them. I think it kind of technically is, but we'll talk about a few of them real quick just to kind of transition into a bit more news. Super Meat Boy brings brutal 3D platforming to Switch 2 this year. Okay, it says if you've played any Super Meat Boy games previously, you might be interested to hear a brand new 3D game is arriving in 2026. In an update this week from developer Sluggerfly and the game's publisher Head Up have now confirmed a Switch 2 version. While Super Meat Boy 3D does approach the brutal platforming action from a different perspective, the core gameplay remains the same. This includes brutal but fair levels, boss fights, dark world levels, and a soundtrack with involvement from Steve Marcois of the deathcore band Despised Icon. That's so sick. Here's a bit more. about this in this meaty new experience, and you can see some extended gameplay footage on Switch 2 in the video below. So we'll take a quick peek here at some Super Meat Boy. We just got to get through the ad real quick. I see RX Gaming is here. What's going on? Welcome on in. Oh my goodness, what are they? They're running the longest ad ever here for whatever. Oh, this is 13 minutes of Switch 2 gameplay. So, uh-oh, the green pipe. That's not Mario. That's not Mario. I love it though. The look is cool. I bet you this is gonna be fantastic, you guys. Meat Boy is one of those games that's kind of like Celeste in a way. It's your 2D platforming that um that is super rewarding to do, but also pretty difficult at times. Oh yeah, I'm digging the perspective here. So who knows? Maybe we'll learn a little bit more about this game tomorrow, and so that would be cool. The next one, it's tough for me to like consider this an indie game because Warframe seems like it's like a games as a service. It's pretty big, so I don't know that it is technically an indie, but it is in the news because the Warframe Switch 2 version launches alongside its next major update in March. And if you guys need a game to like really lose yourself in and level up and you like sci-fi and you know pretty good gunplay, that kind of stuff, look into Warframe. It can eat up a whole lot of your time if you let it. I've played through some of it and what I played was it was fun. Like, it was fun. It was just it was during the time of, like, Destiny, and I'm like, I can't get into another game like this." But they have been going for a very long time. So, let's see, uh, from the chat here, "I want Warzone on Switch too." Yes, I'm ready. I'm so ready for Call of Duty. So ready. So hopefully it happens sooner than later. But yeah, so Warframe definitely worth checking out. It's free to play. It's free to start. There's obviously like some cosmetic stuff and a battle pass, I'm sure. But there's there's a lot to play. So also I gotta backtrack a little bit. Nadine A says daily reminder buy Bomberman, in case you haven't. So uh RX Gaming says, I don't know if you played the Switch One version of Warframe, but they did a really good job on it. The Panic Button really did their thing. I recall, yes, I went back. I probably played more Warframe on Switch One than I did like on my Xbox or anything like that. So, um, Nate says Warframe is actually really good and fun, but it's a lot. So that's the thing you got to deal with. Like if you don't want to invest a lot of time and you're kind of grinding, it may not be for you. So, um, Green Corn says Halo CE needs a Switch 2 release. Yes, agreed, 1,000%. Because and I say this because I have been championing getting Mr. Chief, Master Chief into uh Smash forever. All I wanna see is the opening cinematic where we hear a sticky grenade. It just kind of like it starts its little, like, whistle hum, and then boop, sticks right on Mario's nose, and his eyes get big, and Master Chief's invited to Smash. Like, I want that so badly, and so and selfishly, again, I would love to be able to play Halo on a Nintendo console. I think it'll be absolutely crazy. Crazy to finally see that happening. I feel like the Master Chief Collection would be a great place to start for the Switch just to get that collection on there, but who knows if we'll ever see that, but I would love it. Totally love it. So, and maybe they could piece it out. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the best thing would do because it's also a pretty big game. I think it would fill up the majority of your space um on your on your Switch 2 as well. So, RX Gaming says about Warframe, money does make it go faster. Yeah. So if you don't want to grind as much, you can pay to get through a bit there. So, or get through a bit faster. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green Switch update censors naughty and offensive names. So you've been warned. Kotaku has verified that some words, such as "I'll just let you fill in the blanks," um, are replaced with names like Gary or Jane. This doesn't seem to extend to some milder words, however. Yeah. So gotta be careful what name you put in on Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, which honestly is pretty funny. UK charts. This I find very interesting. We were talking a little bit ago about like third party sales, first party sales. This is crazy to me, you guys. UK charts Resident Evil Requiem Switch 2 sales comparable to Cyberpunk 2077, which I believe they said they were happy with. Now this is just the UK, but it sold more than Mario Tennis Fever. It sold more than Mario Tennis Fever, and that like I mean, I knew Mario Tennis Fever wasn't going to be for everybody, but to hear that third party games are beating it out is 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 somewhat of a shock, right? So, um, Michael says, "I think it'll do somewhat better than Cyberpunk. I think there's a chance too. I do being brand new." So, RX Gaming said, "I used to pray for times like this." That's so funny. So funny. Well, taking a look at the list here. Number 1, Resident Evil Requiem, with, um, it looks like 54% of its sales are on PS5, PC 36%, Xbox 6%, and Switch 2 4%. So it's the smallest, but still doing well, I guess, as far as like looking at like Cyberpunk numbers. Number 2 in the UK, you got Mario Kart World. Looks like it's been just hanging there. The Resident Evil Generation Pack, World of Warcraft, Midnight, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. I wonder if it's like on a big sale or something to jump up. Pokemon Legends ZA, Lego Star Wars must be another big sale. But I mean, Mario Tennis Fever went from 7 to 21. So, uh, Cream Corn says, "Not surprising for Mario Tennis given the track record." I mean, I think Aces did some decent numbers, but I'm wondering if just the sport, if there's just a bit of fatigue in general. I I I found the subreddit today that you guys have been talking about in the chat, like, uh that's, like, totally anti-Nintendo, and I was cracking up at some of the stuff, like, some people, like, feel like Nintendo's living rent free in their heads, it's wild, but, they were like, they basically said, "Do not waste your money on tennis, it's a 3-hour campaign," and it's like, "That's not why I'm getting tennis, I wanna get tennis to play, uh, against people," That's where the fun's at with that one, so, um let's see, Donkey Kong Bonanza is, up to 16 from 19 in the UK, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is up from 17 to 15. Midpie Senpai said, "How is Mario Kart Deluxe still on this list? Who is buying this?" Bro, it's never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop. They like, it's almost as if they're like, "You know what? We're gonna put out Mario Kart World, and then we're gonna go radio silent." And for anybody that hasn't bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe yet, but they decided to pull the trigger on a Switch 2, they can get a little more Mario Kart by going and playing the first one. So, Nate says, "LOL, campaign in an arcade tennis game. People crack me up." Yeah, that's like, if they're gonna do the RPG thing, like, full on do it, like, do it. I feel like they literally just tacked like, "Here, you're getting a level every time you do a tutorial." It doesn't feel like an RPG to me. Like, either commit or don't. It just seemed like a tutorial, like Jason said. So, uh, fair enough. Mario Tennis has a 2-hour tutorial for a 5-hour game. Yeah, or it's just a 5-hour tutorial, period. So, um, Mid-Fi Senpai says, "At this point, I think Nintendo is purchasing the game themselves just to pump their numbers." This could be. Nate says, "But I see it somewhat. Fight Night Champion is still the best boxing game and had a great campaign for boxing." Right? Yeah, it's possible to, like, to tell a good story and do that kinda stuff, but I feel like their main focus is the the multiplayer, and then they just kinda tack on the story. And the complaint I see all the time is people, like, want like, I'm not buying tennis for a story. That's just me, right? I know that's not gonna be the case for everybody, and I mean, I think I may be the minority in this based on what I see online, but, like, it's it's just fun to play tennis. The problem is in modern gaming, you gotta we've talked about it at length, you gotta dangle those carrots. You gotta put stuff out there that's gonna make people keep going, like, why should I play 100 matches? Why should I play 1,000 matches? When do I unlock Gold Mario? When do I unlock Silver Mario, Gold Peach, all that kinda stuff? Like, Nintendo has the means to give these games longer tail and to keep people playing them, but I feel like in some of these instances, they literally just put the game out and then, like, they may not walk away from it, but the drip feed of, like, "Here's 2 more characters," I don't know I don't know that anybody cares, and Nate said dangle the carrot or charge less, or the flip side of it, if you're gonna charge what you're charging, make it worth it. Make it give me a reason that it's that much, you know? And that's gonna be, like, obviously, to get everybody to agree on that statement, not an easy thing, right? But, I mean, like, Cream Corn saying $70 for Mario Tennis, hard pill to swallow. Um, Joey says, "Of course they focus on multiplayer. Mario Kart World didn't have much of a story." Very true. Like, they just stuck to the basics and then let you explore the world. But again, there were people disappointed because past games have had, like, story missions. I think the DS one is the one that a lot of people will go back to. And so, like, in my case, I'm like, whatever it takes to keep people and get people excited about Mario Kart, make that happen, right? Because I mean, that's our Monday stream. We streamed it tonight. It was super fun playing with you guys. So, um, so, uh, and again, it depends. You know, Cream Corn makes a good point. So we've been having the same conversation. Yeah, if it was tacked on, for sure. I think what was interesting about, like, the story stuff from, like, the DS version is that, um is that it was more like these little bite-size mini challenges, not necessarily a story from what I remember, and so they were it would have been far more like fleshed out versions of what the P-switches are now, which even the P-switches are like, I mean, they're cool, but they are a bit like there's so many, and they're like, "Just drive from here to here real quick." It, you know, it's just it there's not a lot of meat there. There's not a lot of meat. So, um, RX Gaming says, "Yeah, that definitely kills the game for me. I really despise the drip feed." I don't mind if there's a drip feed of, like, great content, but with Aces, it was like, "Oh, hey, here's." They tried it. They tried it with Aces. It was like you can unlock some alternate costumes if you hit X amount of champion points or whatever it was. So uh that was like a step in the right direction, a tippy toe. Nady Nay says a game like Rocket League is going on its 10th year and still great. Just got to put the effort in the sports titles. Exactly. Exactly that. But does that effort mean going free to play and then everything becomes a battle pass? Because that's super it's A, it's risky. B, the vocal minority hates that. But, like, I was thinking about this today and just like thinking about the landscape of gaming, and, like, I'm not gaming a ton. I'm playing Fortnite mainly, and streaming Mario Kart on Mondays with you guys and Mario Party on Thursdays. And outside of that, like I'm not I'm like I just don't feel a big draw to game right now. And and I'm thinking about games like Mario Wonder. And I know it seems crazy, but like if that game had a season pass and we knew that we were going to get content for it for 2 years after it came out, I would have been absolutely stoked. Like and again, maybe I'm the problem, maybe I'm in the minority, but like that game was so good and I wanted to play I've wanted more since I completed it that like I would have gladly shelled out more cash to be able to have more time with that game with fresh content. But because the alternative is, well, now what we're seeing is we're getting these multiplayer tacked on modes for $20, and who knows how long it's going to be before we see uh Mario Wonder 2, right? With as long as these development times are taking, I wouldn't mind them reevaluating some of this stuff so that we can see more content from some of their and I mean, I'm I I'm speaking from a place of like, no, over 2 years, I want like I want another like minimum like 2 full games worth of levels, right? Like to where they can take stuff that they maybe worked on but they scrapped and then they can take it like do you get what I'm saying? To where it's like it's not 5 to 7 years between these games. It's there's massive value because they're giving us so much more. Maybe it isn't realistic. Again, just a guy with a microphone for the sake of conversation, like like I just want to be able to play more Wonder and not have to wait so long. That's at the end of the day, that's what I'm getting at. I want more of their single play and like for me, if they came out with multiple like packs of levels that were, the different difficulties, getting into their super hard difficulties, like that's where I had the most fun. Is the hardest parts of Mario Wonder were the best parts of that game. That's not gonna be for everybody, I get it. So they have to kinda sprinkle it all in to try to keep everybody happy. But it's a bummer to have all those assets and that were that were not, that we're not getting more. Midfive says, "Well, I'm the guy with the microphone, so you will listen to every word I have to say." RX Gaming says, "Man, that last level was fire, right? So good, like so good. It felt like they were like really coming into uh like how great Mario Wonder could be." And so, and again, it's not that I'm like, "Oh, we need more battle passes, we need more season passes, we need like." I don't know what the best solution is, but I can say confidently that it's not a Switch 2 version of a game with just more multiplayer. That to me does not seem like the right direction. Like there can be fun had there, don't get me wrong, but I want to play more single player or even four player, multiplayer as far as like co-op through the story. That's what I want. That's what I want out of these games. I'm not saying that the multiplayer doesn't have its place. Sure, add it on, but like don't make it the focal point. It just seems like it's such a strange direction for me. So Nate says I feel like companies should make a game and a sequel if uh if planned at the same time, then announce it first and the other one can just be ready when they want so it feels like we get more. That's a like and again, I'm not saying that this is the only way they can do it. I'm just more like like thinking, how does modern gaming keep games fresh and going longer with these insane dev cycles? Like that's that's what that's really what I'm after. So, and it does make sense. I mean, think so here, okay, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, right? They the dev times on that was not that long. And if that's the solution, if you could give me Wonder and then Wonder 2 3 hour or 3 years later, sign me up. Here's my $120. Like, I'm ready. So, uh, that's kinda what I'm getting at, and I think, Nate, that's similar to what you're saying. Um, RX Gaming says, "Wait, don't they have more, extra?" No. All Mario Wonder is getting is they're gonna take the Koopalings, and they're going to sprinkle them in to the original game, and you have to collect the bellflowers or whatever. That's it. No new levels. That as far as we know, no no new worlds, nothing. So, Cream Corn says it's a hard spot to be in as a developer, I'm sure, because on one hand, DLC can help, but where's the fine line of DLC and the next game in the franchise? Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I feel like Nintendo did this with the new Super Mario Brothers franchise. I feel like that was like 5 games of reused assets, but think of how fast we got those games. Like I saw some kind of a picture today that was like it showed like all of the Mario games from like the early 2000s to like 2017 or whatever. And then everything we've got from 2017 till now, it's not even close. Like, it's not even close. Now, granted, it's a longer period of time, don't get me wrong, but, like, in some cases, you're seeing and they did have the DS, right? And the Game Boy and the 3DS, that kinda stuff. Uh, so there were some different teams, but now that all those teams are together, like, why like and you're only developing for 1 console, what is making it take longer? Like, when it seemed like it used to be something that was relatively quick. Because, I mean, is it just the artwork? Is it there's I don't know. I wonder what is happening. So, I'm gonna you guys got some great chats in here. So, Jason said they should release 2 3D Mario games at a time. The first one, like, is like Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. There you go. Just 1, 2, let's go, double pack. I'm ready. I need as much 3D Mario as possible. Uh, Nate said there's tricks, kind of like Harry Potter movies. I think they shot them in reverse or something so that the kids didn't really age crazily or whatever. Yeah, I don't know what the story is there, but yeah, I feel like it's like reuse those assets and get us more because Wonder was just so good. But Wonder also took a very long time apparently. And so but, like, I don't feel like anybody would be mad if it was just more of the same, but the levels were different from the teams at Nintendo. So and again, I'm not saying I'm like, when it comes to development, I don't wanna come across like, "Oh, this is easy, they should just do it." No, there's nothing more irritating than people that talk like that. It's more for the sake of conversation of just, like, what can be done? Just kinda asking those questions and wondering, like, is what is the reason it takes so long? And was the level of polish and the reason it was so good, the reason it took so long? And it's not something that can be rushed. Like good art. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a lot to unpack and try to figure out. I mean, obviously they're a business. They want to make money. They want to get these things out as quickly as possible because it just it keeps the machine rolling. So Bit by Senpai says, "This is why OG Contra was awesome. Two-player co-op, easy core loop, tweak the story slightly, tweak mechanics slightly, pump out more games. If one is good, make a sequel." Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Joey says, "And Bell Bell Park is local multiplayer, isn't it?" The majority of it. I think there's 6 what wasn't there 6 online, like, competitive games, and then, up to 12 people, and I think that might have been it. The majority of it was local multiplayer. I'd have to go back and watch. Nate said, "I'd rather just not have DLC at that point, just give me a new game." And again, like, I'm of the mind that I don't care how we get it, I just want it. I don't care what it is, if it's DLC or a new game, I just want it. That's it. Let's see here. Midfi says $30 tops. If it flops, you have minimal investment. You've already moved on to the next game. More overlap of titles reduces dependency on a single game succeeding. Um, Also, too much polish is minimal return. Yeah, like I feel like there are some indie teams out there. Like, okay, here's the other thing. Let some of these indie teams use the Mario IP to make a sprite-based Mario again. Like, see what the team that, I mean, obviously the team that's working on Celeste, but there's gotta be teams out there that could make some pretty incredible 2D Mario games, similar to what, Mercury Steam has done with, like, Metroid Dread and, Metroid, 2: Samus Returns. Like, start getting your IP into the hands like, that to me seems like a big win because now you're talking about, like, more people making money while also getting more of your core games out into the wild. I mean, again, just a guy with a microphone, but I would like I've loved what we saw with, um, Mario plus Rabbids, right? Stuff like that, like, keep doing things like that. That fills some voids, you know? So, um, let's see, Joey says, "See, the Wonder DLC seems confusing. I don't know if I'll get it or not." It's yeah, you're not alone on that one. Joey also said, "Remember when Donkey Kong Country was so good, they made 2 within a year and then made a 3rd within a year after that? We rarely get year after year, good games." This is also true. It's also true. Let's see. We got, is it I'll just go with buy. We'll go with buy. It says, "I just graduated from video game development, and it's easier with AI to do coding. So the reason they are taking so long is a mystery." Yes. Yeah, well, and I mean, and, from the little bit that I've, like, 'cause I've done, like, some game jams and stuff like that, like, you've gotta get your engine going, like, get the pick the game you want within the engine that you're working on, the style of game, throw your artwork on it, get your music and sound effects in, get all that stuff, you know, plug everything into the right spot, and you've got yourself a game. I'm And the only thing I go back to is it has to be polish. It has to be polished. So, let's see. Clever to Great says DLC should come in the first year of a game's release. After that, just move on and give us a new game. Yeah, they're well, I think what Nintendo is doing right now by pushing Switch 2 versions, I think it's a way to I think it's a way to leave room for third party and indies, mostly third party, while still getting Switch 2 versions out of some of their best Switch 1 games. So I really truly believe there is strategy behind all of this. The most difficult thing about it is if you're a hardcore gamer, you're getting remakes of Switch 1 games with tiny bits of added content, and then you're getting older games that you probably played on another console, and you're wondering, "What am I gonna play on Switch 2?" Because your exclusives are Metroid, Mario Kart, Metroid's on both of them, right? Tennis, Hyrule Warriors, Air Riders, Donkey Kong, Mario Kart World. so on and so forth. So Nate says there are some great indie developer minds that just don't have money. Um, that's a good idea, like what Sega is doing. Yeah, get your IP into the hands of indies, and because now, granted, maybe that's gonna spread people like Shigeru Miyamoto. Maybe it would spread him too thin, depending on what he's doing. But like, I feel like it's a big enough company with enough people that understand the level of quality that needs to be there that they could check this stuff and keep it in check. So um, Nintendo is basically putting the blank on a pedestal. Mario doesn't have to be perfect. Sure, it's great. We love it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Too much buildup just disappoints. That is a fact. Nate said, "Here's the strategy. Let's have third parties do the heavy lifting, so we can slouch in the throne and do mid tier stuff. I don't like it. That's and I don't think that you're alone in in thinking that. I think that that's a bit what it looks like, where they're like they're almost like they're squeezing every last bit of juice out of their most profitable titles, and in some cases, not doing like the best job they can be. Xenoblade Chronicles X, right? I think we came back and talked about that after Digital Foundry got a hold of it. Like, there's some things that they were doing that are not great. The game needs a patch. So Joey says I didn't even mean that pun. That's amazing. Rarely. Love it. That's great. That's great. Well, let's get into the Metacritic score of Pokemon Pokopia here. And you got a handful of critics giving it 100. Gaming Bible says there's no one reason why Pokemon Pokopia is so special. This game is the sum of its parts, without a single weak link in the chain. It's a title that offers a unique spin on the cozy formula, made all the more magical by the familiarity of this wonderful franchise. So they're loving it. Screen Hubs gave it 100. Pokemon Pokopia is entirely brilliant. Um, you'll have expectations. You'll want a cozy, wholesome adventure. With Pokemon given a chance to shine, Pokopia brushes all of those expectations aside with a confident wave, arriving as expansive, ambitious life adventure simulator that's absolutely packed with bright ideas that execute to match. Now, here's the thing: we've looked at Metacritic long enough to know that everybody that's giving a 100 is doing it because they really want you to click this full review button right here. They really want those clicks so that we can be looking at their ads instead of the ads that we're seeing on Metacritic. So I'm not like I don't trust a lot of these. I don't. There's a lot of them that I don't trust when it comes to game the scores being at 100 because I know they got to get paid for clicks with clicks. So I don't. Games.ch says in some areas the progression system could benefit from a bit more transparency, allowing players to work towards specific goals more effectively. However, thanks to its charming atmosphere, numerous freedoms, and completely stress free and accessible gameplay, and of course the Pokemon themselves, Pokemon Pokopia has become a wonderful, cozy game, perhaps one of the best ever. That's a little bit more believable for me. I'll take that. Where there's they can it's not a perfect game, you know? Uh, they can give a little bit of criticism. I feel like that helps add a little validity to these scores. So, Pokemon Pokopia from Games Radar is like a brilliantly bizarre blend of Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Dragon Quest Builders, and Viva Pinata. Despite its many influences, manages to be a unique spin-off for the Pokemon series that's also an accomplished life sim. So there you go. Game Informer says, despite my minor complaints, Pokopia sticks out as one of the best examples of a third-party developer using the Pokemon license to the fullest extent possible. Boom. Exactly what we've been talking about tonight. Exactly. Exactly. So do more of this. Do more of this, Nintendo, with your first party games. Game Reactor UK says, I've had a pleasant time in Pokopia, which never ceases to feed me with new things to do. Pokemon's living conditions must be improved, items must be built, and properties must be planned. We've probably all experienced the kind of game where you repeat the mantra, I'll just do this too over and over again until you finally look up and realize it's 5 in the morning and you haven't slept a wink. That's my experience of Pokopia in a nutshell, and I already feel the urge to dive back in. That's my kind of review right there. That's what I wanna hear. I wanna hear more than anything else that, like, when I'm not playing this game, I wanna be playing that game. So, that's really cool to hear. Really, really cool to hear. So, taking a look at chat real quick, it's past my bedtime, says, "I'm skeptical of reviews sometimes, but it seems like the consensus is really positive. I usually pass on Pokemon games since Blue version, but give me a good sale and maybe Pokopia breaks the mold." There you go. There you go. And like I said, I'm very like when any of them that are giving the 100 score, I don't buy it. They're it's always the same ones too. It's usually the same ones. So, I don't trust it. But tons of 90s on here. Uh, the New York Times giving it a 90, Nintendo Rose giving it a 90, Metro Game Central a 90, IGN gave it a 90, Level Up, Pocket Pocket Tac Pocket Pocket Tactics gave it a 90, GameSpot 90, Multiplayer.it 90, Comic Book a 90. So, uh, there's a lot. There's a lot giving it great scores. A few got down into like the 87, 85. I'm trying to scroll to the bottom here. Game Cult gave it a 70. Says Pokemon Pokopia met our expectations, even if it's not perfect. It does have a repetitive aspect inherent to the genre, which won't appeal to everyone, and some technical issues that can be annoying over time. However, if you enjoy relaxing atmosphere and and don't want to overthink things, there's a good chance this game will satisfy you if you're willing to pay the price, because in terms of playtime, you'll definitely get your money's worth. The gamer gave it a 60 and said, there is fun to be had here, but ultimately, Pokemon Pokopia doesn't explore the Pokemon side of its world uh, and offers building quests that are mostly rigid and repetitive. As ever with Pokemon, there is enough charm to see through it, and the mechanics aren't shallow, even if they're used in aid of the same few tasks over and over again. So it sounds like I would take that at this reviewer not really loving the the genre, and because I feel like that's a pretty like you log into Animal Crossing daily and kind of do the same thing until like you're like, okay, I've done everything I can do for my dailies. I'm out. And so that that kind of doesn't really surprise me. So mid by senpai says, LOL, that's literally the definition of addiction. I may have a problem. Joey says, you're getting Pokopia. Yes. Yes. Nate says, what can you do that's so different between 300 farming games? There's one word, Pokemon. That's it. That's the that and it also seems like they've taken from those 300 farming games and made it something of their own and then added Pokemon into the mix. So, I think that also helps. So, there you go. That is today's show, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out live. We had, great conversation tonight. Really appreciate you guys so very much being a part of it live. Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Pacific, except this Thursday it's gonna be 8:30. I'm just telling you guys now, because we do have a guest that is going to be joining me for this week's episode. So appreciate appreciate you guys, and as always, play it loud.